Good Dutch.
Hello and welcome back to your Pennsylvania Dutch Minute. A grammar video. Actually, I'm going to do a couple grammar videos here in a row for you guys. I haven't been doing too many videos recently about language stuff, so I thought it was time to return to that. I do get questions about grammar and so forth, so this is a good episode just to, you can build some vocabulary with this one, but also learn a little bit about grammar. So the next couple videos are going to be individual videos on prepositions. There's a word that maybe you haven't heard since you were back in school. Prepositions are difficult when learning a foreign language because every language prepositions work differently. In a sense that I think about meaning wise, to give you an example, in English we say that you live on a street, like I live on Main Street. But in standard German, you would say that you live in a street. Two different prepositions and two different ways of expressing that idea. And that's why I think prepositions are difficult, because you're used to whatever preposition you use for certain situations in your mother language, and for most of you it would be English. But then in the language that you're studying, they might use a different preposition. And a lot of times what English speakers will do is they'll just use the English preposition, like for example, thinking of on, they'll want to say, if they're learning standard German, for example, and I get this with my students in school a lot, they'll say that I live on a street, and they'll just do the direct transfer into German, and that's wrong. We just have to watch about those things, and that's what makes prepositions difficult. On top of that, in English, prepositions, there's no real grammar rules associated with case following them. You use a preposition and you just keep on talking. You really don't have to think about it. But in Standard German, and more particularly what we're going to be worried about, Pennsylvania Dutch, there are rules about when you use certain prepositions as to what has to happen next. There are three main groups of prepositions that I want to do videos about, and they're based on case, or they're case specific. Now, if you don't remember what case is, there's a video in the series here in the playlist all about cases. I would recommend watching that. And while you're doing that to brush up, I would also watch specifically the video on the accusative case. That will be helpful for today, because today's video is about accusative prepositions. So there's really only one rule that you have to worry about when dealing with accusative prepositions, and that is when you use them in speaking or in a sentence when you're writing, the noun following the accusative preposition must be in the accusative case. And that doesn't matter where it is in a sentence. It could be at the beginning of a sentence, it could be in the middle of a sentence, it could be at the end of a sentence. As soon as you use or see an accusative preposition, the noun following it has to be accusative. So what I always tell my students is, I'm going to go through the list of prepositions, and your goal is to, of course, memorize them, so that as soon as you hear one of them, you got to think, oh man, that's automatically accusative case. And through usage and memorization, you'll be able to do that. At first, it's a little difficult and tricky, but you'll get there with practice, just like anything else. So let's look at the prepositions one by one, and I also included a sentence example for each one to kind of help you understand what we're looking at. So here's the first one. The accusative preposition is bis. Bis. And as you can see, that can mean until, till, or by, depending on usage. And here's an example sentence. Ich tanz bis 8 Uhr. Ich tanz bis 8 Uhr. I am dancing, or I dance until 8 o'clock. So in this case, 8 Uhr is in the accusative case because it's following the preposition bis. The next accusative preposition is dadurch. Dadurch, which means through. An example, dadurch der Tag do ich viel. Dadurch der Tag do ich viel. Through or throughout the day, I do a lot. So der Tag here is the accusative because dadurch it's following dadurch, and dadurch is an accusative preposition. Dadurch der Tag do ich viel. Next one, fa, which is for. Es Buch ist für mich. Es Buch ist für mich. The book is for me. So here's a great example of this showing the accusative. I think in an earlier video I did the pronouns, the nominative pronouns, the accusative pronouns. Definitely in that accusative video I went over the accusative pronouns. So fa is an accusative preposition, so it makes it mich. If it wasn't, then the nominative form would be ich, but that wouldn't make sense. Think about it in English. The book is for I. We say the book is for me, so we need the mich there, and it would have to be anyway because fa is an accusative preposition. Okay. Next one. These are the same word. Depending where you are in Pennsylvania Dutch country, you'll hear one or the other, but they both mean the same thing. Gehe, gehe, or gehe. Gehe. Both mean against. Okay? It just depends where you are. Gehe or gehe. And here's an example sentence. Dabu spielt gehe or gehe es Mädel. Dabu spielt gehe or gehe es Mädel. The boy is playing against the girl. In this case, since your accusative preposition is gehe or gehe, es Mädel is in the accusative case because of the preposition. Okay. The next one, um. Can mean around. It can also mean at when talking about a time reference, like if you were going to say at 5 o'clock, then you would say 5 Uhr. But in this case, I want to use it as its meaning for around. And our sentence is Ich gehe es Haus. Ich gehe es Haus. I'm walking or going around the house. Okay. And another one that starts with the letter U. Ohne, which means without. Kommst du ohne n or ihn? Kommst du ohne n or ihn? Now, some Pennsylvania Dutch speakers for him will use the word en. Some will say ihn. That's why I gave both. But ohne is accusative, meaning without. Are you coming without him? Is what we're asking here. And I included both. You would not say kommst du ohne er. Kommst du ohne er, which is he. That's nominative. And since ohne is an accusative preposition, it forces the to change to either en or ihn, depending on where you are in Pennsylvania Dutch country. Okay? And the last one. Wetter. Wetter, which means against. Now, don't get this word mixed up with the Pennsylvania Dutch word for weather, which is es wetter. You would know in context if you were speaking with someone if they were saying against or the weather. And in written Pennsylvania Dutch, if you'd be reading it, if it was the weather, it would be a capital W because that's a noun. Here it's lowercase, so we know it's against. Wetter, wetter. Der Hund legt sich, wetter es Haus. Der Hund legt sich, wetter es Haus. The dog is lying against the house. So es Haus would be accusative because of wetter. So there you go. Your list of accusative prepositions. Your job now and your homework is to memorize them and then practice making sentences with them, either speaking or writing, just like anything else. And like I've been preaching throughout this series, the only way you're going to get better is by practicing. If you're on Facebook, join one of those Pennsylvania Dutch groups. There's a bunch of them out there, like Kannst du Deutsch schwätzen? Or there's one for people learning Pennsylvania Dutch. There's one that's also, I'm not Amish, but I speak Pennsylvania Dutch. You can get on those groups or join those groups, and you will find people there who will want to practice with you. And that's how you're really going to get better, particularly those of you who don't live in or around other Pennsylvania Dutch speakers. Utilize what's out there online. Okay, so in a future video, I'll discuss the next list of prepositions, which are dative prepositions, and I'll do the same kind of thing. I'll show you what they mean, how they work, etc. If you have an idea for a future video, please feel free to email me. My email address is at the end of the video. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe or tell a friend about our program here, or if you know someone that wants to learn Pennsylvania Dutch or is interested in languages, I think they would thoroughly enjoy this series. But until next time, keep practicing your Pennsylvania Dutch and mach's gut.
Mach's gut.